This video is sponsored by U7Buy. Use U7Buy when you are purchasing Genesis crystals for Genshin Impact and other games. Use my link down in the description to support the channel. You actually do get a pretty hefty discount, as you guys can see on screen here, like over $20 for me in Canada here, buying the most expensive Genesis crystal pack. And if you have enjoyed my content and are buying gems for Genshin Impact, make sure to use my link so you can get not only a discount but also show some love and support here on the channel. Personally, for me, I never had to wait more than a couple minutes for my order to arrive, so just give that buffer time and be patient for your order. Thank you so much to U7Buy for sponsoring the video, and let's get into the content. Sup everyone, welcome back to another video. And you know, I've been gone for like 2 weeks now, and the first thing that I've came back, people have asked me to address something, which is the fact that the Baizhu and Ganyu banner surprisingly has incredibly low sales, and people want to get my thoughts, and here are my honest opinions. Because looking at this from, I think, an unbiased lens, I would say that it's not too surprising a character such as Baizhu as well as the rerun of Ganyu isn't garnering, let's say, incredible sales, because both of these characters, well, let's talk about Baizhu first and then we'll maybe touch on Ganyu if we have some time towards the end, right? Well, first let's start with Baizhu. What the hell's going on? Well, characters such as Baizhu, while maybe some people have seen a lot of anticipation for his arrival, really doesn't bring much to the table if you think about it, right? Like, sure, if we are saying maybe specifically for Sino mains, he might be an irreplaceable piece of the puzzle that brings about a whole new best in slot team composition. However, you have to understand, right, with the existence of Yao Yao, you could also argue that the role of a Dendro healer specifically isn't so like sought after nowadays. I mean, no, has it ever been? The only gimmick that I think Baizhu offers over like a character such as Yao Yao would be something like the shielding capabilities, and although his shielding is not amazing, it leaves much to be desired in terms of durability, and it's much more of like an anti-interruption tool where whenever you use it, right? Let's be honest here. Nobody's really out here using Baiju's shield to tank mountains of damage. It's not what it was made for. So what is this character made for? Why does he even exist, right? Why does Hoyoverse seem like they're so fearful of releasing a full-fledged, powerful character that can stand front and center? Now, Baizhu is a supportive character. Well, he falls into the supportive category, which is already very difficult and highly competitive, even though usually 3 out of the 4 slots on your entire team composition is reserved for support characters. It's support impact for a reason. So why does a character like Baizhu, who is full of supporting features in his kit, not feel desirable? Well, it all boils back down to the fundamentals of Genshin Impact, right? What is Genshin Impact? What do people pull for in Genshin Impact? Waifus, and really strong waifus. Really, it's just these two. If you're either a waifu, people will pull for you, even if you're like not as impressive of a character. But what people really want is a really strong waifu, right? Well, there are outliers such as maybe Zhongli, right? Maybe, I don't know, Ito, stuff like that. But understand that the vast majority of the time, you have to offer value. And I said this in my live stream yesterday when I came back, is that inherently there's a problem with characters like Baizhu, and a lot of people would attribute similar problems to someone like Kokomi. Now, I know when I say the word Kokomi, people are gonna have a knee-jerk reaction saying, Walrus, how dare you? But truly understand it from this perspective, why till this day there are still people stubbornly saying that a character like Kokomi is not necessary, right? She's kind of like a embellished accessory. She's like the icing on top of the cake. She's basically this overly glorified kind of excessive existence in Genshin Impact. Now, are we saying she's bad? No, we're not saying she's bad. She's amazing. In fact, most freeze teams, if you have played with Kokomi in your freeze teams, you kind of can't go back, kind of, right? A lot of people say, oh, I get by with my Mona running a prototype Amber. And that's where the problem is at, right? When we talk about characters like Baizhu, like Kokomi, they're healers. Healers in the game, what do? They keep your team alive. And does that really benefit you in terms of endgame where you really struggle. Nobody struggle in the overworld. Nobody is saying like, oh, I need more healing to survive. In fact, even in the Spiral Abyss nowadays, people are still talking about DPS checks, right? Look at this current Spiral Abyss. People are struggling with not dealing enough damage. Nobody is out here being like, oh my god, I need to find more ways to survive. In fact, if you have a Zhongli in your account, you have more than enough ways to survive. Survivability really hasn't been an issue since patch like 1.2, and continuing forward, it's not gonna start like anytime soon where survivability is ever going to become an issue, right? So that's why a character like Baizhu, when people quickly figure out that he does close to nothing to further power or boost up DPS for their team members on top of not being a waifu, well then how can you possibly expect a banner like Baizhu to end up working for you? And a lot of people are still holding on to the hope and belief that maybe, just maybe, when Fontaine rolls around, there will be new characters, new metas, or stuff like that that makes a character like Baizhu much more worthwhile. For example, yes, while Sino mains are probably overjoyed having a character almost kind of made for their new best in slot team, we also have to understand that, like, you know, there's very far and few in between of Sino mains out there. And when you make a 5-star character, get this right, make a 5-star character to complete or boost up another 5-star character, it also doesn't really make people feel very, how should I put this, incentivized to spend money, to spend their precious resources to pull for said character. Right now, the problem is mostly that Baizhu hasn't proven himself to be a worthwhile investment in any magnitude for players overall, right? Like most people playing this game nowadays, they are pretty smart. Like, they're not really out here trying to pull every other 5-star. Their goal isn't to have a wildly diverse account. Most people are here for the waifus or for very specific characters, and one on the near horizon is Folklore. Fontaine is coming maybe in less than half a year, like 4 or 5 months, I don't know, give or take. And the Hydro Archon is probably on most people's target list. So knowing that, Hoyoverse is probably also leaning towards selling Fontaine characters, selling the Hydro Archon more than they are worried about someone like Baizhu, you know, breaking all record sales. Now, even though prior to this they had Dia, which is like a monumental flop, now they have Baizhu, which is just disappointing to say the least. Then following this, they're not going to even have a 5-star character in the next round. Like, Genshin Impact is just going to be bleeding some money for like 3, 4, I don't know, 5 patches in a row. But then we also have to talk about Honkai Star Rail, right? Like, this is the thing I always say about Hoyoverse. Money, when it comes to Hoyoverse, it always flows to and from, right? It's either going in their left pocket or going into their right pocket. Maybe like in this case, Genshin is their left pocket, Honkai Star Rail is their right pocket. I haven't really seen the sales number for Honkai Star Rail, but I would imagine that the game is probably doing extremely well. The Seele banner, probably people are just kind of losing their mind over it a little bit. And then the Jingyuan banner that's coming up very soon, for people who don't know, they're like the first 2 limited banners. They're really good characters for the most part, and people are wildly excited for that. So, right, think about it like this: there's money not flowing in from Genshin Impact. Well, maybe it can flow in from Honkai Star Rail. That's the thing about Hoyoverse, right? So when people ask me questions like, oh, Walrus, why do you think the Baizhu banner isn't doing well, and how do you think this is affecting Hoyoverse? How do you think this is for Genshin? Does this really mean anything in terms of Genshin's longevity? Personally, I just want to say that I don't think that Hoyoverse is really shaken up by any of this. In fact, if anything, this seems much more like an orchestrated thing. The fact that they're not even releasing 5-star character in the next patch, right, for Genshin Impact should show you that they are more than okay taking a hit financially for these slower patches for Genshin Impact as they move into Fontaine. Like, I think a lot of the people who are not pulling now are just saving either money or primo gems for Folklore. That's my 2 cents. And I guess we have a little bit of time, so let's talk about Ganyu. When it comes to Ganyu, honestly, she's not that exciting of a character nowadays. She never really was like the apex of banners to sell regardless, because the fact that she is a bow character, and no matter how good she is, like how much damage or screenshot she can perform, there's just going to be people who are not interested in playing a bow character, one that relies heavily on aimed shots, even though yes, you can shoot the floor, people just don't want to deal with the hassle, right? So the character has not really been at the top of most people's premier choice of DPS, I say, for a good year, over a year now. So I wouldn't really be surprised when people say like, oh my goodness, how is Ganyu not pulling her weight in this? Like she hasn't really been a part of the popular kids discussion for a very long time. The Liyue Big Three really has fallen. Really nowadays it's just Hu Tao holding up that that title and really carrying Zhao and Ganyu along for the ride here. But I too see that becoming history in maybe Fontaine. All right, now with I'll Hate Them coming out, DPSs are just starting to rise up more and more. The qualities that we expect a good DPS to have are also being just risen beyond what is expected of regular DPS performance. It's just like, I mean, Hu Tao is a great character, don't get me wrong, but I just don't think she's even competitive nowadays to some of the more modern top tier DPS options, right? So with all that said, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and yes, I am back. I'm going to be making both Honkai Star Rail videos as well as Genshin Impact videos. I'm very keen on the direction both of these games are going to take. Make sure to check out U7Buy and support the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and until next time, I'll urge y'all to stay safe. Peace, bye bye.